condemned to attend the funerals of all we love.
What's up guys, and surprise, Evenicle is out and it is the real June review. I'm already almost finished thanks to Lewd Gamer helping me get a pre-release copy so I can do a video on their channel on it, look out for that. But right now, I'm gonna give some zero spoiler impressions about the game just to celebrate its release. So, first of all, this is by far the most colorful Alicesoft game I have ever seen, courtesy of the artist who primarily works on the Senran Kagura games, and yes, the man finally put some nipples on his art, no mods required. The story itself is good, not anything groundbreaking, but I did find myself invested in the struggles of the main characters while also being intrigued in the lore of the universe. The main character Aster is kinda rants light, and I'm gonna go into more detail on that in a later video on comparing this game and the Rant series, but the easiest way to describe it is that while Rant is an adult all things considered, Aster very much acts like a kid in a candy shop when it comes to women. He is all about smiles, everyone having a good time, and most importantly, consent. So if you have ever wanted to introduce someone to the Alicesoft series, but hesitated because some of the complex moral choices the game presents, Evenicle might be a better starting point, at least narratively speaking. I'll get into gameplay in a sec. Don't get it twisted though, this is an Alicesoft game, so bad guys in an H game will be bad guys in an H game for those who were worried about how vanilla the game's art looks. The supporting characters I won't talk about much, but I do have to say my favorite characters have to be Ramius and Kath. Ramius because she simply completes Aster, they make the perfect couple with her matching Aster's boundless libido and stupidity beat for beat, and Kath being a surprise favorite with how weeby she is. She really does have that kind of otaku lifestyle and personality. She is generally harder to convey in words why I like her, especially on the fly like this, but I'll make sure to clarify in the full review. The other characters are good, with a few standout NPCs being just as, if not more entertaining than the core cast, but it's easier to say there were almost zero characters that I outright disliked. And as a bonus, I think, not 100% sure, but I think that all the notable female characters I remember do get an 8 scene, so that is a good amount of diligence on the part of Alicesoft. Now, as far as gameplay is concerned, it's a moderately standard turn-based RPG. Aster and his 4 companions fight against enemies using basic attacks and various skills that, surprisingly enough, instead of simply leveling up to obtain, can be found around the world, encouraging exploration. And a character can only have so many skills equipped at the same time. You slowly get more though as you level up. But the rules of combat are pretty simple. You build a tick of BP every time your turn comes up, and skills consume various amounts of BP with no cooldown, but that BP consumption is really the balancing factor. Attacks all have a chance to stun, elemental weaknesses deal bonus damage, they don't have any special fancy effects or anything, and that's about it. Battles aren't any sort of tactical exercise, but it's enjoyable enough to feel that it's more than just a means to an end. And the enemies are leveled enough to encourage swapping skills and actually giving you a little bit of a challenge, though you know, much like any other RPG, you will end up grinding at some point, though the grind is a lot less apparent in this game, and I really like that. Also, and I'm going off script right here, I have to say that thank God skills just naturally have a much higher proc chance in this game than they do in most RPGs, or in particular Alicesoft RPGs. Things like Assassinate start off with like a 50% chance instead of a measly 20, and go all the way up to 80%. With various other abilities, when they say they have a chance to do something, generally they mean they're going to do something. And that just makes combat feel all the much better. Okay, back onto script. Aside from just fighting and participating in the main quest, there are some side quests in the game that almost all have 8 scenes attached to them. Quick tip, no spoilers or anything, just make sure you go to every single church in the game. For a little bit I just kinda overlooked it, and then I realized what they were doing with it. Not gonna say anything, just make sure you do that. You can go around the world finding and challenging Mega Monster bosses, they will destroy you without a second thought, so make sure to save before going up against them. Speaking of Mega Monsters, there are also some other collectibles in the game to find, such as romance and environmental wonder scenes, where you'll just spend time talking to whatever party members with you at the moment. There's also a Gal Monster catching system in the game, where during fights, one of your teammates has the ability to capture Gal Monsters. This not only gives you an instant in-game CG of them being tied up, but they can also be equipped for bonuses to your stats. An important thing to note before I end this is that the game's main advertised draw and Aster's motivation in the story is to obtain a bunch of different wives over the course of his journey, but instead of having any sort of gameplay attached to this, it is completely story related. The game as a whole is pretty linear, as you would expect from a JRPG, just gonna let you know that right there for those who are coming from, Sengoku rants. But weirdly enough, gives moments where the player has to make choices, even though there's really no choice to be made. Maybe there will be a choice past the part that I've played that will actually be relevant, but as of now, these moments really just seem like a pointless reason to add entertaining bad ends. I mean, they're funny, but at the same time they're pointless. And with that, I'm going to stop right there, since I've really mostly been vomiting out my thoughts of this game onto a script and sometimes going off script, not really criticizing it that much, but that is mainly because the flaws don't immediately come to mind. I'll make sure to include some inside the full review, but as far as right now, I do want to say ahead of said review, I had a great time with this game. And the only debate I'm really having with myself is whether or not to give it a buy or outright a steal rating. Look forward to my review because I am looking forward to making it. If you have any specific types of content you would like me to show off, obviously nothing H related, but if you want me to show maybe a couple of raid boss battles, the Mega Monsters, or maybe even some of my favorite scenes with the 8 scenes cut out or tastefully censored, just let me know in the comment section. And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and finish this game, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.